What's up, guys? Today we have a clip of Myron Gaines debating a college student on Israel and whether or not it's good to support Israel as an American.
Yo.
We talking about Israel?
Sure. I don't want to make the whole thing about Israel.
Of course not. Of course not. It's just I'm a conservative. I support Israel. I think it's important for us to have a relationship with an ally that allows us to project power across the Middle East, and particularly to stop China from pursuing their goals of dominating global trade, specifically in the Suez Canal. What do you think about that?
I think the relationship with Israel doesn't serve us at all.
Why?
Well, they get us into a bunch of foreign wars. They have a very powerful lobby group here in the United States that only really cares about their own affairs. We don't get the same strategic benefit from being with them that they get from us. I mean, President Nixon already admitted this. Several presidents know this. The only reason that we really support Israel is because we have a bunch of rich Jewish oligarchs that run America. So that's why. And that's the cold, hard reality.
Well, first of all, I think it's important that we can acknowledge the fact that there is a large Jewish lobby in the United States, while at the same time acknowledge that there are more Christian Zionists in America than there are Jews in the world. And say, hey, maybe it's not the fact that we're being lobbied so hard, but it's the fact that this is just how voters typically believe. And also to counter the fact that Israel gets us into so many wars, a lot of those wars were either, specifically like things like Iraq, they were motivated by a combining factors of profound government corruption. You had Dick Cheney actively having conflicting interests, being the CEO of Halliburton, who rebuilds countries, and he's the CEO of another company which destroys countries, known as the United States government. But a lot of those other wars tended to have a mutual interest for both countries, I would argue.
There was no benefit to Iraq whatsoever.
I would agree. I agree.
They didn't have weapons of mass destruction. It was all a lie.
I agree. I think that was not due to the fact that Israel was getting us into the war, but the fact that we had a profound level of government. Oh my gosh, a profound level of government corruption, specifically with Dick Cheney and the Bush administration. I think that Iraq was a tragedy, while at the same time, I think that we should have a relationship with Israel.
No. Not at all. Like I said, and even less now, even less so now with what they did in Gaza and all the wars that they're starting all across the Middle East. They're going to get us to bomb Iran. I hope you know that too. Like that's 100% going to happen because they're going to attack the Iranians no matter what at this point. Netanyahu looked like an idiot going to White House and getting a declination, and they're going to attack them by themselves, and we're going to get dragged into it because the Iranians already said if they get hit again that it's going to be an existential crisis for them, and they're going to fight back, and they're going to hit our bases as well as Tel Aviv and Haifa and all that. So there's really no strategic benefit to benefiting Israel.
Iran already tried to bomb our bases. They didn't succeed. Every single missile that they fired us, we shot down.
It was a symbolic strike, and they told them
symbolic strike. Why would you do a symbolic strike right after your biggest nuclear plants just got destroyed unilaterally by the United States military? It doesn't make any sense.
Because it's called strategic warfare and using a measured response. The point was
measured response.
Yes.
If the United States' nuclear facilities got blown up by Russia, it would be all-out war. The fact of the matter is that Iran has been so neutered and kneecapped by the efforts of the United States and Israel that it can't afford to launch
You're missing the bottom line. Why are we at war with Iran?
We're at war with Iran because they're aligning themselves with China, and they have positioned themselves to destabilize the entire Middle East. Every issue
India
in the
aligns themselves with China too. We don't bomb them. We're at war with Iran because of the Jews, okay? It's very simple. Jews run America. They run our infrastructure from every single point. You got people like Mark Levin saying bomb Iran every day on fucking Twitter, and I'm tired of hiding it. The fucking Jews have us going to war, and Americans are going to die for the Jews. I'm not going to let it happen again and now call it out because back during the 9/11 days, which you might have been a kid back then, we didn't have alternative media to be able to say, get this propaganda out of here. We justified the entire Iraq war off of Osama bin Laden allegedly attacking us on 9/11. Bin Laden and Saddam Hussein hated each other. There was no relation there whatsoever for some false weapons of mass destruction. This is the same propaganda from the early 2000s that they used to justify us being in the Middle East, and it's given us no fucking benefits except for Jews lining their pockets, going ahead and justifying wars all across the Middle East, and fixing their policy papers or enacting on their policy papers like the Clean Break Memo and the Project for a New Century. We get zero benefits from going to war in the Middle East. Iran is not our enemies. They don't have any threats to us. They're a threat to Israel, and now we're taking on that risk.
What about China? If we allow Iran, who has aligned themselves with China strategically, to position themselves, to align themselves with every other country in the Middle East, that gives them profound influence over the Suez Canal, which allows them to dominate global trade.
Israel sells our technology to the Chinese. They get caught doing it all the time.
China steals our technology anyway.
Yes, and who gives it to them? The Israelis. Bro.
Dude, I mean, I haven't looked into that.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
I bet
the
it's more
Israelis have been
nuanced
caught
than your
stealing.
plot- than
The
your,
Israelis have been
putting-
caught giving our technology over to Israelis.
I mean,
Sorry, to
I haven't looked
Chinese.
into it. I mean, they might be, but the fact of the matter is, I think it's important to have a relationship that allows us to dominate global trade, and Israel provides that.
Israel's been stealing our technology for a very long time. Their spies have been getting caught. Some of the Jonathan Pollard, one of the worst spies ever.
I know Jonathan Pollard caused significant strains of the United States.
Yeah, and guess
Israel
what happened? Who was at the
relationship. And
tarmac
it
to meet
was
him in 2020?
It was repaired.
Hold on,
What?
who was at the tarmac to meet him in 2020?
Tell me who.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
He was released from prison early.
I'm not.
And they took him
defending
back to
Benjamin
Israel.
Netanyahu. I've never defended Benjamin Netanyahu. There are people back there who have spoken with about Israel before, and they can attest to it that I do not support Benjamin Netanyahu. I think that Benjamin Netanyahu has done irreparable damage to Israel's credibility on the world stage, specifically in how he's
been
conducted
their
the
longest
war.
lasting leader. He's the one that's been dragging us into the wars. We're going to get into another conflict with Iran if they strike.
I think that Iran.
Netanyahu is Israel.
I would totally support if there was a way to get rid of Iran's current government without dragging us into a forever war.
Regime changes don't work, dude. I mean, we've seen
Regime
this for
changes absolutely
look
do
at
work.
Libya right now. Look at Iraq
Panama.
right now.
Look at Germany.
I'm talking about the Middle East.
Talk about the Middle East.
I'm talking about the Middle East.
Well, the
Regime
reason-
change wars don't work. We've seen this already all across the Middle
when
East.
you're
Every
trying
country
to
that
build
we've
a
destabilized, it doesn't work.
When you're trying to build a feminist utopia in Afghanistan, of course it's not going to work. But when you go in there with a set goal and allow the people to overthrow the government themselves, like look at Syria. Syria is building a functioning government as we speak. And the United States didn't have to spend a single troop to do that.
Yeah, just a bunch of intervention and supporting the Israelis so they can go ahead and bomb the Lebanese and then go ahead
Syria
and
was
be
aligning
able to.
themselves with Russia. Now they're aligning themselves with the West. I don't see how that's a bad thing.
They've been destabilized for decades. They've been fucked up for a long
decades.
time. So
And they were under the
again,
leadership of
we don't have anything really to show for Middle East intervention from a United States perspective. The Israelis obviously love it because when the Middle East is destabilized, they could be the hegemony and they can do what they want to do. They want to be the only superpower over there. Fine, but let them do it on their own. Israel has a right to defend themselves, whatever you want to say. Fine, but we don't have to pay for it and or support it.
I think we're gone over everything we're going to say here. Thank you so much, Myron.
No worries.
That was
Good
awesome.
discussion.
Thanks, man.
No worries. Good discussion, man.
Yeah, and this was a respectful debate, but honestly, as Myron said, God bless them, but why are we even there? As Europeans, as Americans, I've never seen Israel fighting European wars or American wars. You know, we can clearly see Russia, Ukraine. Is Israel doing anything about it? I don't think so. Matter of fact, somebody can argue, and obviously not me, that Zelensky is Jewish. So somebody could argue maybe they caused it, but obviously I don't think so, right? And I don't even care about these speculations. I only care about our countries. As Europeans and Americans, we are connected and we have our own battles to fight. We have tens of millions of illegal migrants in every country in Europe and in the US. And what are we doing? Sending troops, money, and weapons to another continent. What the fuck are we doing, bro? And by the way, the argument that if we don't help Israel, Russia, Iran, China, India, they're just gonna get together and conquer the West, it's pathetic because if you give them war, you're just gonna give them what they want. They're gonna get together even more. They're gonna be allied even more. What the fuck are we doing exactly? Like, you're provoking them while saying you're defending. You're not defending if you're attacking, especially fighting a war that shouldn't concern us as Europeans or Americans. But guys, let me know in the comments what you think. If you agree or disagree, leave a like and subscribe if you want to. Christ is King, and God bless you.